underway here this afternoon. Still in the U16 bracket as Stanstead College takes on the North American Hockey Academy. Both of these teams have already played here today from the Canton Ice House. Both of these teams have picked up wins earlier in the morning. For the North American Hockey Academy, a 3-0 shutout victory over Mountain. For Stanstead, they dominated things earlier in the day against the Washington Pride, a 4-1 victory, a game in which they outshot the Pride 53-12. Hoping to replicate some of that same offensive firepower here as we shift into the afternoon slate. Oriane Baudreau getting the start, number 1 in goal for Stanstead in the white and reds now. And for the North American Hockey Academy, it's number 35, Rebecca Cohen, who did not play this morning after Nicole Bethune picked up the 13-save shutout over Mount. Early icing here in this opening minute will bring the puck back down into the Stanstead zone. Lillian Schneider able to dig in against Belanger and win that faceoff. Now Schneider all the way in the far circle. Tries to backhand that one towards the net, which she was able to, and Boudreau able to make her first save, and there is no rebound. Elizabeth Belanger, one of 4 different goal scorers this morning for Stanstead. She'll pick up this pass and look to split through 3 defenders, but was unable to get through the last layer, and Kylie Henderson, who got some help from Schneider there to dislodge her from the puck as this is deflected in. Past the reach of Elizabeth Papineau, who sends that around where Charlotte Grace tried to backhand it around over the glass. Instead, it's picked back up by Belanger deep inside her own zone. Nice play there at the line from Courtney Keenan to keep this puck alive. Schneider pulls up, try to return it back up to the point where Lexi Drevich was open. Instead, it's back in below the goal line where Carissa Chapkowski looked to guide that back up to the point. It got through the stick of Katie Melling. Finding now the stick of Chapkowski, who tries to wind her way through the far side. A centering feed picked off by Papineau. Papineau looks up the ice and will just flip this out through the neutral zone. Picked up and played off the boards by Emma Kalachi. But it's taken and then stolen right back by Melling. A dangerous pass there, nearly picked off by Sophia Gagnon, who was out along the blue line. As a puck gets cycled here around the wall. Out through neutral ice. Rafaela Perrant sent it around through the corners. Nobody was home there for Stanstead as it's pushed back into their zone. You see Putka looked over her shoulder. She did not play this morning. She hands this puck along. It's Beatrice Bureau to dump in, and Stanstead can look to change. Putka off the boards. Was met there immediately by Kira Gray. Another chance to clear it off the glass. Looked like that was knocked down with a high stick, and sure enough it was. Faceoff will stay inside the Stanstead zone. Stanstead looking to break out after getting possession back along the far side. Play was broken up right at their line by Lillian Schneider on the back check. Played off the boards by Fitzpatrick. But she turned it right onto the stick of Jaden Bingham, who opened up the scoring here this morning for Stanstead. She guides it back onto the point where it's played across the line. Charlotte Grace with a shot in on goal, and the first save can be made off the blocker of Rebecca Cohen. Was able to steer that over to the corner, and now it's carried ahead up through neutral ice by Fitzpatrick. Stopped there at the red line. as Grace tried to lead Bingham back in quickly down the left wing side, but Stanstead offside instead here in the early goings of this first period. 13:09 left to go. First of 3 17-minute periods. We'll have an intermission for an ice cut after the second. Stanstead will control this puck back onto the stick of Papineau. She finds Belanger with a head of steam in over the line. Good stick check coming in by Courtney Keenan. He watches Belanger as it's back up to the point. Long shot in by Papineau was in and out of Cohen's glove. Play continues on over into the corner where Belanger turns off the boards. Into the circle, had it knifed off her stick, and it's back into neutral ice. Papineau being pressured there, able to shake away from Molly Anslow on a nice move. As the Winterhawks here want to regroup quickly out through neutral ice. Back on two skates. The centering feed from Anslow was picked off. Nice work from Gagnon to come back, and Stanstead can clear a rolling puck. Back for Keenan to play it. She's being pestered all the way into the corner by Perrant. Keenan, though, able to escape and get it up to the line. Not out, though. Good keep from Gagnon, and now Perrant knifes her way through, looking to center. Got a second opportunity as the pass ricocheted right back onto her stick. And it's 2 goals in 2 games for Rafaela Perrant, who scored on the power play earlier in the day against Washington. She picks up the game's opening goal here with 12:02 to go in the first to put Stanstead up 1-0. Third point of the day for Perrant, as right off the draw, Stanstead is going to go shorthanded here. A tripping penalty will be called. And a chance for the North American Hockey Academy to try and respond here with a power play coming just 5 seconds after the goal was scored. It'll be a trip on Lexi Legere, who will have to sit here for 2 minutes. Puck played around the wall by Charlotte Grace. Papineau was unable to spear it out up the boards, but it finds the stick of Grace, who can use the glass to clear. Long lead pass, deflected in off the stick of Evelyn Iverson. She'll look to chase after it. Instead, though, coming around her own net, Papineau. Broken up at the line. Puck came available, and Grace again benefiting from Papineau's work to get the clear. As it's picked off just outside the blue line and sent back down the ice by Haley Gilbert. Katie Melling will lob this into an open corner where it can be grabbed and tossed right back out of the zone. Quick work there from Belanger this time, the forward helping out in below the goal line. As Belanger reaching in, couldn't get a steal as Emma Margolis sends it around the wall. Held in by Kylie Henderson. Just over 40 seconds to go in this power play as Gilbertson guided that puck along, and a return feed back up to the point. It skipped over the stick of Kalachi. She'll regroup on an indirect pass. Broken up inside the line nicely there by Papineau. As the Winterhawks cannot get anything established so far on this power play. It's carried and dropped back off by Drevich. Looking to pick it back up into the corner after she couldn't connect with Chapkowski. Long shot in from the point. Blockered out by Boudreau. Comes around the near side where looking to pinch was Drevich. Out of the box comes Legere. He's back to even strength here. Not much doing on that power play as it's fired in off the paddle of Boudreau, who will keep the play moving. As the puck is gathered up and brought ahead nicely by Perrant. She'll flip it onto an open wing as it's played through the top of the crease and wide. Tucked back up to the point. Long shot. was blocked down off the stick of Putka. Pass gets up through center ice, but it was rejected at the line momentarily there, at least by Grace, who now has to extend to get back, and did well that time to prevent Fitzpatrick from any kind of play at the net. As Charlotte Grace has it again. Up the wing she goes. Puck has not sat still really for either team in this opening period of play, under 9 minutes to go. It is grabbed here by the maneuvering AC Putka, who drops it off here for a shot. Stop there. Not sure where that puck was. Cohen was looking over her right shoulder and had to react quickly back into the middle of her crease to make a second save and cover. Puck moved back to Papineau. It's angled back up to the point. Lloyd across. Papineau shooting. Couldn't get that to go through the traffic as Iverson came out to meet her. Puck swung around the net. On the near side, reaching for it there for the Winterhawks was Peyton Minuski. She could not get to it though, as it's once again held in at the point. Papineau has it. Trying to get away from her check, but being bothered every bit of the way that time by Iverson. Still able to work a puck in below the goal line, where players converge along the end boards, trying to mine it free, which the Winterhawks are able to do. Pass did touch off of Iverson's stick, but she was well behind the red line, and it'll be icing here, setting up the faceoff. Back down towards Rebecca Cohen with 7:48 to go in the first, and the only goal so far belonging to Stanstead College. They control off the draw as it's back to the point. Putka's shot was blocked down. It hit the glove of Danielle Rapport. He was able to step through some contact and clear it down the wing, but right onto the stick of Gagne, who nearly got herself in behind everybody. Eloise Gagne had 2 assists this morning as a heavy collision along in the far corner. He's going to see Stanstead get their first opportunity on the power play, as crashing hard into the wall that time was Sophia Gagnon. Roughing ends up being the call. It sends Lexi Drevich to the box here for 2 minutes. There's the power play, which capitalized in the third period this morning for Stanstead. Look to help them double up their lead as Papineau lost her stick, kept that puck in using her legs as it's in below the goal line. Cut down and brought ahead here shorthanded. Trying to get on the move was Margolis, broken up as she tried to cross center ice. As that rush was broken up, Pia Obermeyer could not gain the line along the right wing side, but now it's Belanger. They're going to get things set up. They'll move it back up to the top here. Papineau fakes, now finds Belanger, who fanned on her shot. And now the Winterhawks get up to the line. And shot back in off the paddle of Boudreau on that long shot from Maggie Fitzpatrick, who may have had numbers potentially up the ice. As Belanger tries to barrel her way down the wing, but was broken up by Kalachi, who turns and finds the open seam to clear that puck down off the boards. 50 seconds to go in the roughing penalty to Drevich, as Stanstead now will break it out. Putka down the wing. A swap there from Kalachi as she'll play it across to the point. Zoe Lloyd being checked there. Good work on this penalty kill as it's banked ahead. Papineau was the last line of defense there, and she was able to get back to break things up as Molly Anslow was looking to break ahead. Ouellette had a shot blocked as on the follow-up attempt, a backhander from Perrant was steered aside. Puck was held in at the point for a moment by Putka, who fell down to her knees. Good pressure again here, shorthanded. That was from Ann Gilbertson. Both teams successful on the penalty kill as Drevich exits the box. Just over 5 minutes to go in this first period of play. Looking to knife her way through. Kartush with a shot, stopped twice there by Boudreau, who got down with the stick both times to make the save. Pass worked over rink wide, is gaining the red line, is Grace to dump it in. Cohen out of the net to stop it. Manusky avoids one hit and is able to push a puck back into center ice, where Papineau is forced back here into her own zone and under some pressure as it came dangerously close to the Stanstead goal. They're able to work it into the corner. Grace will skate onto it, gaining now the blue line, looking to squeeze through a check. Margolis was able to run her out of real estate as it's brought back ahead with plenty of speed. Chapkowski got by one and then couldn't get past that last layer as she was upended by Macy Putka. Transition back the other way as Belanger tried to drop that off at the line. Belanger hollering for it, gets it here, tries to fire, had her shot blocked. Held in at the point by Putka. Gagne down low as they try and filter that into the crease. It was rejected. As standing in front was Fitzpatrick. Back up to the point. Putka's going to walk into the circle with this one and play a low shot in off the stick of Cohen. Rebound ends up in the corner. And then is gunned back across the crease wide off the stick of Obermeyer. Stanstead able to keep, but a pass towards the middle out of Belanger's reach. Dump back down the ice. Boudreau is going to play this puck herself. Margot Samard lost it trying to get up that left wing side. As Gagne had her stick lifted but was able to get a puck ahead. However, Chanel Ouellette could only get as far as inside the Winterhawk blue line. As they shoot it back in. Papineau behind the goal. They're going to break this puck out. Stanstead, though, forced to drop it back. As Lloyd's pass could not be handled there on an indirect feed. Gilbert tries to track it down. It's reversed around the net by Drevich. Played ahead. Danielle Rapport really had that pass picked off as Papineau will hold the line and send it on around. That pass from Rapport ricocheted off the legs of Kira Gray, and that prevents the Winterhawks from getting out of the zone here as Papineau tried to charge into the corner. Puck is taken back out high. Perrant across. Shot comes in on goal, and Cohen makes the stick save. Rebound, though, to Stanstead. It is pulled back up to the point. Gagnon into the slot. That was broken up and cleared back down the boards. Icing will be called here with 1 minute and 38 seconds to go in this first period. Not nearly the same relentless pressure as Stanstead was able to apply this morning, but since getting the opening goal from Perrant, they have spent most of their time on the attack looking for that second. Bodies colliding there over in the corner boards as Belanger moves it up to the point. Quickly across the line there where Putka's shot was blocked up towards the glass. It stays in play. They continue to battle here in the corner. Obermeyer back up to the point. Putka trying to get herself around Iverson. Takes a skate with this puck all the way towards the far corner. Belanger Gets to the point just in time. Now steps into the circle, but had her shot blocked. Skips on now for Grace, who also couldn't get that shot through as Iverson was standing in the way. Played on an indirect feed down the glass. This could be an opportunity here as this puck is taken hard to the net where they'll score. And Gilbertson able to catch up to that puck, which was played ahead off the glass. And in the final minute of the first, the Winterhawks are able to tie this game 1-1 with 37 seconds to go. Great hustle from Ann Gilbertson to catch up to a puck that looked like it was going to get too far ahead of her after it was played forward off the glass. She was able to settle it down and make a nice move in to beat Boudreaux clean. And the big goal for the North American Hockey Academy to get this game tied in the final minute. As Stanstead with only 10 seconds to go, looking perhaps here for one more shot, but our goalist has it. Looking to just kill off the final few seconds, which she will do as the opening 17 minutes come to a close. Perrant striking to open up the scoring for Stanstead, and Gilbertson answering with just 37 seconds to go in the period to get this game tied, as we'll take a quick breather and come back for the second period in just about a minute here from the Canton Ice House. Team switch ends for this second period. We're back underway. Tied up 1-1 on a goal in the final minute from Ann Gilbertson. As Belanger wants to try and answer, but a nice poke check from Margolis, who was the last line of defense, doing just enough to slow Elizabeth Belanger down. Puck broken up. Good stick from Belanger. Obermeyer moving in. Good save there off the pads of Cohen as the drive from Putka was wide, stick side. Now Belanger holding. High slot. Slips a pass down low for a quick shot and they'll score. So after conceding in the final minute of the first, Stanstead gets a goal here in the opening minute of the second, just 49 seconds in, as Belanger does all of the work to keep that puck inside the line. Slipped a beautiful pass into that far circle where Haley Gilbert was able to step in and snap that shot high short side to quickly restore that lead for Stanstead. back up in front now, 2-1. As Leger turns it off the boards. Trying to get onto this puck is Bingham into the corner. Bingham wraps it back up to the point. Gagne trickles that towards the crease. Or rather, Papineau, 16 and not 15. Cohen down with the blocker and the paddle to cover up. They fight for it off the draw. Molly Drevich was able to win the faceoff that time. Couldn't poke the puck around Papineau. Grabbed here by Stanstead, and it's played back in by Ouellette for a quick shot, and that finds the far corner as Jaden Bingham picks up her second goal of the day to quickly make this 3-1. That goal coming just 51 seconds. In between goals there after Gilbert scored to open the period up 49 seconds in. Jaden Bingham able to find the far corner on Rebecca Cohen to put Stanstead now up by 2. In the opening 1 minute and 40 seconds of this second period as a long shot comes in wide. Cohen tried to paddle that away from trouble as it's taken here by Keenan. Played off the boards. Trying to advance in is Chapkowski, who fires and scores! Three goals in the opening 2 minutes and 27 seconds of this second period. And the Winterhawks pull right back to within 1. Both of those goals coming just under a minute apart. As Carissa Chapkowski gets a quick answer. Stanstead looking for more offense here as Lloyd's shot was patted aside. And now in transition back up the ice comes Chapkowski, who was just bumped off the puck down that right wing side. Lloyd up the boards. Grace has to play it back around her own net to Lloyd. You can backhand this out through the air. Margolis back to collect. Trying to shake away from Samard, who is in on the forecheck. Comes up the boards for Melling to play it. Good work to slow things down out in neutral ice by Lexi Leger as it's finally worked in deep below the goal line. As the Winterhawks can change. A grab by Rapport. They'll drop it back off into her own zone as Kalachi gets it up to the wing. Gray can send it in. Papineau now from her own zone. Takes a look up the ice, but put that in a tough spot for Leger to try and make a play on the puck as Kalachi gets tied up there with Pelchier. Meanwhile, the play continues all the way into Cohen's crease where she's able to get down and cover. Two goals in a 47-second span between Jaden Bingham and Carissa Chapkowski. once again make this a 1-goal game as Keenan goes all the way across rink wide. It's backhanded up the wing blindly there by Gilbertson. Now Gagne penetrating the line. Gagne drops it off. Hard shot in on goal. Was punched aside by the standing Cohen. Now carried out on the rebound by Gilbertson. She had a teammate going to goal that time, but could not connect cleanly with Anslow. As Stanstead wants to counter, this is Charlotte Grace dropping it off for a shot that was blocked down off Margolis and then centered right back out in front for a tip try that Cohen was able to anticipate, heading down into the butterfly to make the save. Face off one here in the attacking zone. Papineau chases it down and is able to poke it around to Obermeyer as it just clears the zone past the stick of Zoe Lloyd. Winterhawks will try the far wing here as a pass delivered towards the middle. Didn't connect as it went just underneath Anslow's stick. Puck forced out to center ice. Obermeyer fighting through stick checks as Belanger looked to get a takeaway. Back up the ice, Henderson tried the self-pass but couldn't get around Lloyd as Fitzpatrick closes things down along the far side boards. It's Belanger trying to step away with this puck. Belanger able to push it ahead as she'll drift in towards Cohen. She'll cover it up as it could not be settled down by Lexi Leger. Just pushed it too far ahead of her, and Cohen will happily take the whistle. Face-off controlled by Stanstead. Grace into the slot. Nobody home there as Iverson is pressed up along the boards. Samard in there along with a couple of teammates trying to help it free. Leger watching nearby as it does come available. Kalachi on a D-to-D pass. Puck got up to the line that time, but not cleanly out of the zone as it's played back in below the goal line. Manusky to the wing where it's played into the middle of the ice. Gray trying to get around Putka. Gray got taken down and a penalty will indeed be coming here. Was waiting for that arm to shoot up, and with 10:02 to go in this second period, it'll be another power play opportunity for the Winterhawks as Zoe Lloyd will head off to the box here for what I would imagine is a hooking penalty. So a chance for the Winterhawks to try and erase what was an early 2-goal deficit in this third period, or in the second period, excuse me. As it's held along the wall. Gilbertson trying to track it down into the corner. She was tied up as it did come available, but right onto the stick of Lloyd, who clears. Thought it was Zoe Lloyd who was heading off to the box, but it's number 20 instead, Sophia Gagnon, not number 10. Lloyd was out in front of her own goal to clear that puck away as there's under $1.20 on this power play already. Melling drops it off for a quick shot here, off the post, but on the rebound, stashed in. And this game tied on a power play goal with 9:12 to go here in this second period. Reese Kartush was able to get to that loose change and deposit it after the original shot caught off the post, stick side to Boudreau. In this game, all knotted up now, 3-3. Second power play goal scored today by the Winterhawks of the North American Hockey Academy. And they have erased a 2-goal deficit as this pass back up to the point. Got away from Gagne. Now Grace finishes her hit along the end boards. Arms stay down from the officials as that seemed to shake up one of the Winterhawks players as right back up the ice. This has been a wild back and forth second period. Stanstead taking advantage of the numbers up ice on that rush, and it's Belanger to put them back in front 4-3 as they attack with numbers and finish. Our fifth goal of this second period, which still has 8.5 minutes to go in it. Winterhawks had a player shaken up behind the play and perhaps expecting some type of penalty that never came. They are able to take full advantage of things back up the ice. Stanstead. Belanger's got her 10th goal of this season. Second goal here scored today in this first of 3 days here from Canton. Stanstead back in front with the lead. They have not trailed in this game. Good pressure being applied to Papineau, who was bumped off the puck there by Anslow. Now it's turned over, bottom of the circle for another goal here in this second period. And one that pops the water bottle as Ann Gilbertson double dips with her second here this afternoon, and it's 4-4 with 7:32 still to play here in period number 2. That goal comes just 1 minute and 4 seconds after Belanger gave her team another 1-goal lead as we're tied up with 4 up on the board for each team. And Gilbertson, second time around, even nicer than the first as she ripped that shot far side, popping the water bottle of Lauriane Boudreau for good measure. So 6 goals now in this period, 3 apiece for both teams. As Belanger muscles this puck towards the line. Taken by the Winterhawks and cleared out past the point. Grace will deliver this pass across for Gagnon. She'll dump it in. Owen's going to come out of the net and opt to leave it for Emma Kalachi. He was able to backhand this along the boards and out. Gaining the red line and dumping it in. Rapport. Now Gagne. Stick handles and sent a pass that couldn't be caught cleanly there by Gilbert. They look to free it here off the boards, and it did come available for Anslow to dump and chase. She's got some support as Gilbertson centers from out of the corner, nobody home. Picked up by Willett and led ahead. Here comes Belanger driving. Belanger hard to the net with the backhand try. Going down. Look to keep that puck out as the referee comes over to deliver the washout signal. The puck ends up in the net, but that was due to Belanger Going right through her check and into the crease and right through the goaltender, Rebecca Cohen, who, with the pads down, was able to keep that puck out on a streaking Elizabeth Belanger, who was looking already for her third goal of the day. As Willette now opens up for a shot. That goes off the stick of Cohen. Just the knob it caught. As Belanger moves it back up to the point. Putka will go across for Grace. Now Putka again can get that shot through as it was off the legs of Gilbertson and into the corner, where Belanger had it spiked off of her stick. Good defending there from Kartush to send that up and into the screen. 5:27 to go in the second period. Finally played a couple of minutes here without a goal in a period in which both of these teams have traded offense here back and forth. Stanstead struck twice in the opening minute and 40 seconds to take a 3-1 lead, and the Winterhawks have been able to battle back to get this game tied up on two separate occasions, 3-3 and now 4-4. As Grace sends it in towards the crease, he can be scooped up by Cohen. Going to attempt to eat and call a hockey game. We'll see how good we can be at multitasking. As look out, here's an opportunity that was just pushed wide of the net. Danielle Rapport trying to give the Winterhawks their first lead of this hockey game. And why not in a period in which both of these teams have had no trouble responding. As look out here, puck turned over dangerously at that right out in front with Boudreau down. It never came onto the net. As back up the ice, Legere 1-on-2. Fires and gets her own rebound back. Couldn't hit the target again on the second attempt. She went wide stick side. All the way back into the Stanstead zone. Puck carried ahead with plenty of steam by Parent, who opened up the scoring here back in the first. She'll drive around the net, leaving it there in back of the cage. It's returned up to the point. Lloyd across the line. Papineau's shooting. That was blocked right off the ankles of Evelyn Iverson, who comes up hobbling there. But got in the way of the shot from Papineau, who's got her stick tied up. Trying to get her stick free now is Beatrice Boudreau. As Papineau will send it around up the glass. It's held in here by Fitzpatrick all the way down the boards, nearly to the hash marks. As Parent staggering forward, can just do enough to clear. With under 3.5 to go, offside. Puck here turned over, bottom of the circle, and they'll score! And for the first time this afternoon, the Winterhawks have a lead, 5-4, with 3:07 to go as that shot was rifled into the top corner by guess who? Ann Gilbertson, who completes the hat trick with 3 and change to go here in this second period. Turnover forced. Puck left there in the bottom of the circle as this shot's taken from the point, and Stanstead comes right back to answer, and they find a way to tie this game up 5-5. It was a shot taken from Off the point by Chanel Willette, and Boulanger with the demonstrative celebration got a tip out in front. Answering as I try and do mental math here, which this period has really tested me on. That's 12 seconds apart. And 12 seconds is for as long as the Winterhawks have had a lead here in this game, as Boulanger's tip try goes right through Cohen's 5-hole to get this game back to even. This was a 1-1 game coming into this period, as a point try was blocked down. Lobiser trying to advance in. Looked like maybe she had done enough to draw a hooking penalty, as Grace had to slow her down there with a stick dangerously around the arms and the hands, as this puck is eventually poked out through center ice. Ticking towards the 2-minute mark here, which we have now elapsed, as Cohen alertly able to play this pass ahead. Charlotte Lobiser was knocked down, and now look out, here comes Boulanger on the move with some help. Dropping it off Willette, back to Boulanger, skate to stick, and on the return feed, that try would not go. I believe it was blocked down by Kolachi. Hutka will turn this back into the zone as we tick closer now towards the final minute of what has been a second period. Not lacking any action at all here from the Canton Ice House. 5-5 in this U16 matchup between Stanstead College and the Winterhawks of the North American Hockey Academy, as Boulanger once again has this puck and has some numbers up the ice. She'll drift and drop. Puck played back across the crease there on a pass from Bingham that did not connect. Now it's up to the point. Papineau dragging, backhand feed into the front where it was deflected towards the goal. We got a stoppage though here with 52 seconds left here in this second period. They are pointing out into neutral ice, and that's where the face-off will be. And Gilbertson jostled along the boards there. Suppose that's what it's going to take to slow her down here this afternoon. 3 of the 5 goals for the Winterhawks have come off of her stick, including the last 2. As Gagne doesn't panic with the puck there out in center ice. Brought it in across the line, but was slowed down far side. 20 seconds to go here in this period, as Cohen will set this aside off of her paddle. This puck will skip its way out through center ice. Picked up by Grace with 10. Dangerous pass there. She gives the puck away, high slot. But tumbling down to the ice was Chipkowski, as a long-range shot was blocked down in the final few seconds. And everybody will be able to catch their breath here. We had 2 combined goals up on the board after 1 period of play. It was a 1-1 tie. We'll head into the intermission tied instead 5-5 between the Winterhawks and Stanstead College. 2 goals in this game already for Elizabeth Boulanger, and the hat trick on the other side for Ann Gilbertson, as both teams trade shots back and forth here from the Canton Ice House. We'll be back for the third in about 12 minutes here Who's to say what's in store for us here for this third period in this U16 matchup between Stanstead College and the North American Hockey Academy. We were tied 1-1 after one, 5-5 after two, as the teams combined for 8 goals in that second period, 4 apiece for each team. Back underway in the third, a game in which goals have come fast and furious, such as that. Stanstead scored 49 seconds into the second period. They're going to score here 14 seconds into the third. And it's guess who for them? Elizabeth Belanger, who has herself a hat trick, needing all of just 14 seconds to get it. That's her 4th point of the afternoon. And Stanstead is back in front by 1. Right off the drop of the puck, didn't really have a chance to even recap that second period, although it would have taken probably a long time with all of the action that transpired. We had 5 goals scored in a 6-minute and 17-second span. The Winterhawks were able to take the lead for the first time in this game, with Ann Gilbertson completing her own hat trick, but they only held that lead for 12 seconds before Belanger was able to respond with her second. That's her 3rd goal and 4th point. Four goals already in the 2 games she's played here today, as a shot comes in off the blocker of Boudreau. This game has been a bit of a goaltender's nightmare, to say the least. As right back in comes Stanstead. That shot off the wing was turned aside by Cohen. Sophia Gagnon trying to test her there, as Gagnon will keep it and nearly filter it through towards the goal, as Papineau keeps along the near point. Changes being made over at the Stanstead bench, as that pass did not connect with Chapkowski. Finds the stick of Katie Melling, who can flip it into an open corner. It rides back up the boards. Legere able to step around Rapport. Now she'll attack the line. Legere forced to her backhand and forced at bay just long enough by Lexi Drevich, as it's tipped out of the zone. Nobody heading up the ice that time for the Winterhawks, as Papineau can dump it back in along the boards and head off for a change. Wrapped around the wall. Cut off there by the legs of Charlotte Grace. As this is played into the slot, Gagne trying to get her stick free. Has to chase all the way back into her own zone for this puck. As she slips it just underneath Belanger's tape. Comes all the way back down off the paddle of Cohen, who sweeps that puck aside. Belanger has it here on the wraparound bid. Cohen the save, couldn't trap it, as Belanger nearly pulled off the Michigan, wrapping that puck back around to the near side. It ends up on top of the net itself. She has certainly showcased her skill here on day 1 of this JWHL tournament. Scored a beautiful goal this morning against the Washington Pride and has 3 of them here this afternoon, including the go-ahead goal coming just 14 seconds into this third period. Shots 29-18 in favor of Stanstead. There were 8 goals scored on a combined 27 shots in the second period alone. This has been a wild affair here, back and forth, as with how this game has gone, Stanstead knows that a 1-goal lead may not be enough, as Papineau was upended there in the far circle. It takes a shove from Anslow. A retaliatory penalty is going to put the Winterhawks on the power play. Anslow is down in a good deal of pain, as it was not Papineau, but Number 15, Eloise Gagne, who's going to sit here for perhaps more than 2 minutes. As we'll wait and see with 13:23 to go, we'll take a breather from the Canton Ice House. So Eloise Gagne is done for the day. 5-minute major and the game for that retaliatory slash that caught the leg of Molly Anslow, who got some help off the ice to the bench and really was not putting any weight at all on that right leg of hers, it looked like. Margot Simard will sit and serve the 5-minute major for Gagne, who's done for the day. And now an opportunity for the Winterhawks, who do have a power play goal this afternoon. They'll have 5 minutes of power play time to work with to try and not only tie this game, but perhaps take the lead and then some. As they'll move this back to the point, Melling will hand it over. As they'll load things up along the far side of the zone, Melling now will swing it across. This is Emma Margolis with a shot going wide. Came in and out of Boudreau's glove. As this is Papineau, who I thought was originally the player involved. But instead it was Gagne, as this is centered into the circle. Quick shot was blocked aside off Belanger's skates. Taken along the half wall by Gilbertson. Gilbertson will play a little catch here with Iverson as it's up to the point. Melling for Gilbertson, trying to go downhill. Melling centers off the goaltender Boudreau and across the crease. It may have caught the stick of Papineau as well out in front, as Stanstead can clear this puck. Back down the ice. Cohen plays it up the wing herself. As Kartush trying to get free, but pestering her with Chanel Willette. Does a good job to kill off a couple of more seconds here on the major, down to 3:40. Iverson, unable to gain the line that time, stood up there by Macy Putka. Now along the left wing side, and Gilbertson trying to attack, but Putka able to face her up as Gilbertson will turn and get it back onto the point. Shot here from distance, wide off the stick of Drevich. Kartush trying to get away from a check. Will play it around the cage. Now Drevich. Back for Kartush, shooting right on. Pad save for Boudreau. Puck was then played over to the boards. Drevich now can turn with it. Drevich holding, shooting, and Boudreau able to make the save right at the top of her crease. No rebound. With 2:52 left here on this major power play. Margot Simard has been watching from the penalty box, standing and cheering on her teammates. They've still got a ways to go in this one. As along the boards, some problems there for Fitzpatrick, but she's able to remain poised. She'll get the puck back here from Chapkowski, and now it's up to the point. Walking the line, Kolachi now on for a shot from Fitzpatrick, and Boudreau again able to make the save. Now 2:27 to go with the slashing major that was assessed to Eloise Gagne, who had a great game this morning. She assisted on 2 of the 4 goals scored by Stanstead in their 4-1 victory. As off the draw, Papineau can use the window to clear. Cohen's going to come out of the net and wheel it around the boards herself, but there to intercept was Haley Gilbert, who gets taken into the corner. Got closed off from the play there by Kolachi, as now ahead come the power play unit. This is Carissa Chepkowski dropping it off. Fitzpatrick looking for a tip, as driving hard to the net was Henderson. It's Henderson with it here, emerging from the corner. Back up to the point. Drevich trying to get away from Belanger. She'll drop it off for Henderson. Henderson shooting wide to the glove hand side. As Papineau locked up there with Fitzpatrick, who's got her stick wedged in between her arm. It's guided back up to the point. Kalachi across for Drevich. Rink wide off the backhand of Henderson, who's being watched there by Leger. And then Henderson showed a bit too much of the puck that time, and it was cleared down the ice off the backhand of Haley Gilbert, number 6. 1:15 and counting to go in the major. Couple of shots for the Winterhawks. As that pass goes wayward, allows for Putka to drive it back in. As Cohen leaves it behind the net. It was backhanded around by Kolachi. Drevich under some pressure, got that up the wing. As it's returned back over to Kalachi, she'll cross the red line and now the blue line. Dumping it in below the goal line as it's quickly returned up the wall. Margolis hustles to keep things alive with 37 now and counting on the major. Held in far boards and played back across. Margolis will curl onto it. Now Melling for Margolis. Down low to the goal line. They look to get it back to her as she was driving to the net. Puck never got flat back down onto the ice. Under 20 seconds to go in the major. Up to the point. Margolis again has it. Going to the goal line with it. As Melling into the circle. Shot ripped wide to the short side. Off the stick of Gilbertson. As out of the box comes Simard. And a big stand on the penalty kill for Stanstead, who iced the puck here as we return to even strength action. 8:17 to go in the third. And they get through all 5 minutes of power play time here unscathed as they remain ahead 6-5. Fitzpatrick will play it back down the boards and into an open corner. Molly Drevich pulls it off the wall and hands it to Fitzpatrick. She's met there on a check from Simard. Drevich able to keep and fire right into the glove of Boudreau, who will hang on as she has gotten busier here in this third period. The Winterhawks able to close things up a bit in terms of the shots on goal disparity. They're out shooting Stanstead 10-4 here in this third period. As Drevich turning with it here, back up to the point. Long shot off the stick of Alexi Drevich goes wide. Puck squirts back up to Fitzpatrick, who will try her luck from distance, but Gagnon got the stick in the way of that shooting lane. Now Papineau throws it off the boards to Gagnon. Gagnon able to one-hand this puck ahead, but that's about as far as she would go, as the Winterhawks might have a step here. Drevich just overskated the puck as Stanstead was in the midst of a change. Bingham back up the ice. Takes a spill there, trying to get around her check as she tries to track this puck down over in the far corner. Puck comes available here, right on net. A wraparound bid from Bingham was stopped as Putko will fling it in wide. Around through the corner it goes. Bureau tried to get to that puck first as it's played past Samard all the way around to the far side. Grabbed by Putka just at her own line. 6:20 to go here in this third after an 8-goal second period. Only one here in the third as that shot knocked down by the standing Cohen. And it came just 14 seconds into this period off the stick of Elizabeth Belanger. As the Winterhawks perhaps thought a penalty was coming again as Grace got the stick into the legs of Gilbertson. Now back up the ice. Here is Parent shooting on a rolling puck that just went wide. Hasn't quite settled onto her stick. Maggie Fitzpatrick ahead. Emma Kalachi can try to take that puck down the board. She was stopped there. Getting up to the line and dumping this in is Haley Gilbert. Puck is then stolen away, and look out, here comes Chapkowski, who's got a step to the net, shooting, and that's kicked aside by Boudreau. A big save there. With Chapkowski vying for her second goal. Boudreau has saved her best for last here in this third period. 12 of 12. After 4 goals, got past her on 10 shots in that second period. Under 5 minutes to play. Gilbertson on the move. Bottom of the circle. Takes it strong to the net. And that was patted down by Boudreau. Now again from the dot. Here's a quick shot and they'll score! Evelyn Iverson able to go upstairs on Boudreau, and it's 6-6 with 4:36 to go here in the third. And Ann Gilbertson should factor in on another goal here for the Winterhawks. This time setting up a teammate, and Evelyn Iverson. A great finish as Gilbertson right back out for another shift. Nearly had a takeaway over in the far circle as Iverson was able to connect with Gilbertson, who was checked off the puck by Grace. It comes available to Leger, trying to get herself free as it's now led ahead, and here comes Samard trying to kick to the stick, but showed a bit too much of the puck as Fitzpatrick can gallop ahead. Looking to gain the line. Good back checking there as Putka teamed up and then stepped up, knocking down Reese Kartush as Papineau. For Parent, being swarmed onto there. Puck taken over. And dropped back into an open corner with 3:30 to go. Here in regulation. Radusky sent it wide from the point. Melling looking to center. That puck came available and nearly played onto the stick of Henderson. He backhanded out off the boards by Parent. Thrown back in by Minuski. Bouncing puck, settled down by Melling. Played across now. Margolis got that puck nearly through to the net as it was kicked down off his shin pad and cleared. Quick up here with Stanstead trying to change. Iverson tried to leave it along the boards for Melling. Melling able to keep that puck alive onside as Belanger comes over to lay a hit. Now it's Gilbertson pulling up along the boards. A pass missing Iverson as this will deflect in off a point shot wide. Puck rolling back out high slot where it was cranked over top of the net by Minuski, catching nothing but back glass on that attempt. Now Belanger. Does she have another in her as she veers her way into the zone? Puck rolling though away from her. Transition perhaps the other way. JWHL has a teammate going to goal. Rolls it in back of the net as a centering feed right back up the middle, picked off. And now here comes Peltier across the line. Peltier shooting right on, and Cohen able to make the save. Squeezing that puck along the right side of her body with 1:41 to go in what's been a back and forth game this afternoon from the Canton Ice House. 6-6 the score between Stanstead and the North American Hockey Academy. Stanstead coming in at 6-2. The Winterhawks coming in 5-5 on this season. And just $1:20 now separate these two teams from heading into overtime. As it's dumped back in, Boudreau trying to slow it down as it got through her. Worked out for the women of Stanstead as it was scraped out of the zone by Gilbert. Final minute of regulation. Puck went off the referee there as Minuski tried to wrap it around the boards. Papineau will lay it in below the goal line where Kalachi is under pressure. Puck bottom of the circle, available for a moment. Belanger trying to fight for it. But it's taken and cleared back off the boards by Peyton Minuski as Belanger could not catch that pass up the wing. It drifts all the way to goal, and with 24.5 seconds left, Rebecca Cohen can cover up. Attacking zone face-off for Stanstead. Belanger sticking in there against Kartush as Belanger wins the draw. Across the line, Papineau backhands down the boards. 15 seconds to go. Charlotte Grace with it here, trying to shoot through a screen. That was blocked out in front. Good block there off the legs of Iverson, whose goal tied this game up at 6. Puck centered into the crease where it's covered by Cohen quickly. There is .3 left up on the clock. So time for one more face-off here before overtime, but with 0.3 of a second, it would have to be picture perfect off this draw for Stanstead to strike as they'll drop the puck, and we will head to overtime. Tied up 6-6. Here through 3 periods of play. Both teams scoring in the first, both teams scoring in the third, with 8 goals sandwiched in between. It's been an offensive outburst here for both of these teams as we'll take a quick breather and return for overtime here from the Canton Ice House up next in just a moment. We get set now for 5 minutes of 3-on-3 sudden death overtime. Fitting that the two players with hat tricks will take the draw here to kick things off in the overtime period. Elizabeth Belanger and Ann Gilbertson battling for it here out at center ice. And possession looked like it was going to be won for a moment by the Winterhawks as Belanger, beautiful pass on the return feed, and a wonderful save by Cohen. Back up the ice now come the Winterhawks as Papineau does well to break things up as that was Kartush looking to streak ahead. What a save to kick the overtime off for Rebecca Cohen. On the give-and-go play as now it's sprung ahead, but Bingham caught that pass behind her as she was already in across the blue line. Offside here as we played only 38 seconds into the overtime period. And it looked like Elizabeth Belanger was going to pick up perhaps her fourth goal of the game and fifth point. Robbed, though, on a beautiful left pad save by the goaltender Cohen. Indirect feed, trying to catch Chepkowski in stride as she's watched all the way in behind the net. Checked off the puck by Putka. Still got a shot in on goal that Boudreau had to kick aside. Koski's pass is going to drift out into neutral ice as Margolis was checked. It is dropped off now for Leger to gain the line, left wing side. Thought she had someone open there at the point. Penalty coming here to Stanstead in the overtime period as Willett not a penalty shot. Willett guilty of a pretty clear-cut interference out in the neutral zone after that drop pass. Was not put into the right spot. Trying to prevent a rush up the ice. Now with 2 minutes of power play time in this overtime period, it's an opportunity for the Winterhawks, who have only led for 12 seconds all afternoon, to try and escape here with a victory. Would be sweet redemption for them after failing to cash in on a 5-minute major power play back in the third. After this, only 2 games remaining. Here from one of the 2 sheets at the Canton Ice House. We'll move into the U19 bracket. So it'll be 4-on-3 for 2 of the remaining 3 minutes and 33 seconds of overtime. As the Winterhawks can go for the win here. They're 1 for 4, including a major. As Papineau gets it up to the line. Melling able to hold it in and play this across for Margolis. Now it's Melling. Trying to shuffle it to Margolis. Broken up and cleared just enough by Charlotte Grace, who's out there with Papineau and Belanger. Margolis challenged there at the line by Grace. And it's Papineau to rip this puck all the way back down. Cohen will set it up. As Katie Melling will look things over from behind her own net. 1:20 to go on this power play in overtime. This will travel its way down and just stop short of the goal line to prevent an icing. Worked out anyway for Papineau, who can clear. As Stanstead will get fresh penalty killers out onto the ice. Katie Melling on the move. Melling cuts in across the line. Grace came over to poke it off for tape. As Melling tries to let it fly, pawed down by Grace. She'll step forward and drive it back down the ice. Cohen's out of the net again. Playing it Up the boards herself. 35 seconds left on this power play as Kalachi just had it knocked off her stick enough there on the back-checking effort from Parent. Power play unit has to pick up here through neutral ice. Fitzgerald will take it here around the net with 15 seconds to go until we'll play at 4-on-4. Fitzgerald turning on to the forehand, trying to send one towards the net. It was blocked down before it got to Boudreau. Stanstead ready to get back to even strength here, which they will. As out of the box comes Willette. 4 aside here with about $1.25 to go in the overtime. Fitzgerald able to spin away from Putka. Henderson trying to track this puck down, and it'll be icing instead. With 70 seconds to go in OT, we'll return to 3-on-3 after that power play goes by the boards for the Winterhawks, and the faceoff now travels back down to Rebecca Cohen with 1:10 left. Here in sudden death overtime, there won't be a shootout, as if nobody scores here, it'll go down in the books as a tie, as Papineau trying to find an opening, as Drevich there to watch her. Papineau's pass, a dangerous one as it was picked off. He comes over, though, to knock the puck away from the charging in Gilbertson. Papineau trying to get herself free. Gets some support from Belanger, who cuts out in front and loses the puck. Now Belanger trying to get up the ice, but Bingham could not find her on the pass. Now it's Belanger who gets belted there on a hit from Drevich, and then coming over was Bingham to lay a hit, and I believe both players are going to go. Bingham skates right over to the penalty box. She'll be joined on the other side by Lexi Drevich. So it'll stay 3-on-3. Although Stanstead was going to go on the power play. .31 seconds to go in overtime. Face off one back onto the stick of Charlotte Grace. She'll fire towards the net, blockered out by Cohen. Players tangle up and hit the ice as it's held in by Obermeyer. Pinned up along the boards with only a dozen seconds left in the overtime period. Another hit laid there along the wall. Chance maybe for one last rush up the ice. It's dropped off and nearly into the reach of Gilbertson as time runs out in this overtime period. 6-6 will go down as the final. These two teams tie in what was a back-and-forth game, which featured 2 hat tricks and 8 goals scored in the second period. Chances to be had in the overtime for both teams to try and win it, but ultimately it'll go down in the books. A 6-6 tie here between the Winterhawks of the North American Hockey Academy and Stanstead College, as we now shift from the U16 division to the U19 division. That'll be up next here from the Blue Rink at the Canton Ice House, up next in about 15 minutes.